Today we are doing a live with the greatest guest that um I've I've heard and seen of. Um so um Today we have an amazing guest. His name is Harlem and is 16 years old, and I can't wait to talk to him. And he is a cryptid researcher, and he has his own YouTube channel, and and I and we're going to be talking to him about cryptids and his life. So
Hello,
welcome, Harlem. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very, very good. So,
Awesome.
um, where are you based?
I'm based in the northwest of England, so Lancashire area near the Trough of Poland, Winter Hill, that sort of area. Yeah.
Um, could you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning, I'm 16. I've always been interested in the subject. I grew up with mostly American shows such as Monster Quest and Finding Bigfoot. So I always had the idea that everything that I'd heard of was only across the pond in the US. And until started reading books in the library, especially one main one that my mum bought for me, which had all these things from Britain. And so I read that and I was like, wow, so it's not just America that has these strange creatures. We have them here on this island as well. Um, Ever since then, especially when I had my own encounter in 2019, I've been fascinated by the subject. All these crazy theories that people come up with. I just love it. I love the community itself. Yeah. Um, can you hear me? You're muted for me. You're mute. I can't hear you. Like,
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Amazing.
Great.
So could you tell us a bit more about the experiences that you've been having?
Yeah, so before I get into the main one, my main cryptid one, there was a strange one in Loch Ness. Sadly, it wasn't with Nessie, as cool as that would have been. It was a more paranormal encounter just outside the loch. I'm not sure if you've heard of the guy, Aleister Crowley. He was an occultist, Satanist, whatever you want to call him. And I knew pretty much nothing about him. I was maybe like nine-ish at the time. And we went out at like 10 o'clock from his campsite and we drove to a cemetery really close to the house that he owned. And I knew nothing about it, but it was my dad that was more intrigued in it. So we went in there, and as soon as we got in there, we all got like a really eerie feeling. I mean, even the trees looked like tortured souls. It was like proper messed up, and there was like a thin layer of mist on the ground. And we were walking, and we made our way to this stone hut. And in this stone hut, in the window, there were steps down. And in the steps down, all across the walls, there's pentagrams, like red pentagrams, like painted all like down the walls, which was insane, proper creepy. My dad was going to go in because he's been interested in this thing for ages, so he was going to go into the hut and see what there was. But before he could, like a shadowy figure, like a manifestation of like a dog. Colin, you could hear him bouncing off and stuff.
that sounds like a weird and a interesting encounter. It's it I've never heard of anything like that, and
Mm.
it I it that blew my mind. Um,
Yeah.
could you tell us a bit more about your experiences then?
Yeah, so my main experience, 2019, winter holiday, so we were away from school. I met up with some friends of mine in a small village where we still live in today, and with the intentions to build a bushcraft shelter, very similar to ones you see all over YouTube and stuff like these professional made ones. So I went back home, I got a hammer and stuff in the toolbox, thinking, yeah, this is going to be great. I'm going to build such a good shelter with my mates. And my friend said he knew a spot which like no one else fields, country lanes. And when we got there, we were met with a barbed wire fence. And just above the fence on a tree, it said private property. But obviously, at that age, nothing was really stopping us. So we climbed over safely, and we just went into the woods. And because obviously it was winter, there's no leaves in the trees or anything. So yeah, we're walking up, really eerie feeling, the feeling of being watched. To our left, there's a little stream, and after about 5 minutes of walking forward, one of my friends pointed out we saw movement in the distance. We all looked, and that's where the best way I can describe it sounds crazy. It sounds really, really weird. The best way I can describe it is looking like the Velociraptors from the Jurassic Park films. Nowhere near as big, like it was much smaller, maybe about 3 foot at most. But we were terrified when we saw it. It was really weird. It was really strange, and yeah, we weren't staying there any longer. We watched it run into the tree line, where we couldn't even see anymore, and we ran back like little girls all the way back to our house. And nowadays, none of those friends really believe it. They dismiss it to be a deer, which I don't understand. It looked nothing like a deer. It had a tail. Like I don't understand how they mistake it for a deer. And then one of my friends had a really strange theory, saying the person who owned the land put a statue of a dinosaur there, which I don't understand. First of all, why a dinosaur, and how would it move as well? That was one of the weirdest things that my friends said. But yeah, that's what really started my whole crazy and started my channel and everything like that. Yeah.
That 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 sounds amazing. Um,
Mm.
I am gonna interrupt this here. This isn't working properly. My
Oh god. Yeah.
my headphones and your voice. I'm getting background of two.
Yeah.
Um, so our viewers now. I'm gonna stop this live stream and we're gonna do a audio one. And then we'll sort this again when sorted. But Harlem, I will message you now.
Yeah. Awesome. Brilliant.